Let's talk about the certification test. So I'll go over here and select my third menu item. And now I come to the beginning of the certification test. The certification test consists of 15 questions. They all have selections that you need to choose from. So it's going to be a multiple choice or a true-false type of test. Okay? And as I said before, you need to pass this test with an 80% or better rating before you will be allowed to create your login ID, which is basically your email address, and then put in a password that you want to use on this website. Now, I do not track your progress of if you only had to take this test once or 3 times. It doesn't matter. What I do track is if you've answered 80% of the questions correct or not. If you get to the end and you are below 80%, then you simply can just take the test over again. So I just want everyone to know that. I don't track and see how many times a person takes to go through a test. But these are basic questions that you will find if you look over your NCHA rule book concerning the videographers section. So these are not trick questions. These are questions that are found readily in your handbook. So that's why we need you to make sure you go through that. Now let me just show you one example. So I guess you could say I'm giving you one for free. Right here it says, as an NCHA videographer, you are required to provide judges with copies of classes at the immediate end of the show. Well, the answer is true. So I come back and it's a correct answer. So far, you've got 100%, and you've completed 1 out of 15 questions. And OK, you hit the OK button. And you notice you get a nice little smiley face because you answered it right. A little positive feedback there. So now we go to the next question. And so now the same thing. I read the question, I look down at what I think the answer is, and I select it. You'll go through each of the questions that way until you get to the 15th question. Provided that you've gotten 80% or more, then you will go on to the next phase, and that is in creating your login ID with your email address and then creating a password. All right, we're at the end of the test now, and I have answered all the questions correctly, and now I'm preparing for the next phase, which would be to enter the my email address and a password. And by the way, you don't get a cute little horse photo at the end. I've taken one of my photos and just covered up the answer so that you'll still have to figure that out. Okay, as you notice right here, of course it says, well done, you passed, now you need to register. And you can see underneath this, that this is now saying that your score is 100%, you've completed the exercise. So let's move on to the next section. Okay, now we've moved on to the next phase of creating our login ID, which basically, as I mentioned before, is your email address. And we then also will create a password. And what I've done is I've just put in a generic email address, and I've put in 5 numbers for my password. Okay, I've been taken to the last step in the process of creating our registration ID. And this is where we will enter all of our contact information. You'll notice that the page has a number of white rectangular boxes. This is where you would enter the appropriate information based on the title. So you'll see here the first name, last name, company. If you have a company, enter it there, but if not, just leave it blank. You enter your street name, etc. Now down here at the bottom you'll notice there are two lines that are in red. This is the information that I had just entered at the previous screen, and this is not editable. You cannot, once you've left that last screen, you cannot re-enter this information. In fact, I make a comment about it right down here, that if you make a mistake, basically you have to contact me, and I will modify the information appropriately. So anyway, this is all of our basic information. Once I have entered this to my satisfaction, then I'll click on the Insert Record. And we're taken to the registered videographer list. I'm going to go down, and this, by the way, in alphabetical order based on last name. And you'll notice right here, this is the newest record that I just created with our generic information. And so once you have gotten to this point, you're basically finished.